Why is Overwatch a better TF2? I mean, I think the big thing that obviously separates Overwatch from Team Fortress 2 is the fact that Blizzard cares so much. They're both very similar games, except TF2, when you play it, it's very there's minimal actually thinking and like strategy, because it's just been the same for so long. So it's just, does this player have better aim than this player, and if so, the player with better aim probably wins. In this game, there's obviously instances where you can just pop off if you have really good aim, but it's a lot more methodical and strategic, and it just takes a lot more like thinking than actually TF2. And I mean, that's what I've always really valued in FPS games, because it just blends all the elements. That it's just like there's like actually a pretty good amount of movement, and like which requires interesting mechanics, and then there's also the aim, and then also at the same time just thinking strategy, which is cool. Yeah, I pro. Yeah, TF2, it's a great game. I think that if they had actually cared about it, it would have been a lot more than it is now. But I mean, I enjoy Overwatch more, so I guess it's kind of nice that TF2 never really got developer support. But I think I would have been happy regardless. Chocolate milk? It's chocolate almond milk. I just don't like milk. I've never been a fan of milk, and I found chocolate almond milk, and it's just better, you know.
You talk a lot about it for someone who is not sponsored by it.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I just like making people laugh, and I show them the glories that is chocolate almond milk. I mean, I do value like the 12-man rosters. I think that 12-man rosters are definitely the way to go about it. But I think that with that 12-man roster, it brings a lot of responsibility to actually be able to utilize the roster effectively. Because if you do what we did like the first couple of weeks, it's going to be a mess, as you very well saw. So if you imagine that, except instead of like it was just a big mess, it was a mess with 12 players instead of 10 players, which is just would have made it a lot worse. But if you can actually like understand how to use, like how you have to have different uses for all your players. Like if you have a different main tank, they need to have a different play style. It can't just be like a copy, which we're just gonna put this player in, because you have to have like a reason behind every roster change and roster swap.
So, but you do think like having the 12 is stronger than having
Yeah,
like 9?
I think the bigger the roster, the better. There's just no reason not to do a 12-man roster, just because there's nothing but good things can come from it. We endured so much sickness stage one that just being able to have more subs helps. There's the more players on the bench watching scrims is just more minds helping you learn the game and faster, and just more, you have the in-house scrims as well, which is I would imagine is going to be a great thing. I think that I try to take a lot more of a leadership role than I would if I wasn't like playing every game. Since I'm the only player, well, since I was the only player that would 100% play every game, I wanted my voice to be the most outspoken and like just the leader, really. Just because if you have someone that's like Jake being the leader and he comes subs out for a game, you might get lost. So since I'm able to play every game, I think that if I'm like able to, like I said, just be a leader, it'll help us remain consistent over all our games.
Do you enjoy being in the head composition?
Yeah, certainly.
Certainly.
The more playtime, the better. Honestly, if Fact comes in and he's performing better than me, I will happily step aside to the bench and help him become better. But it's just because I want what's best for the team. Whatever gives us the biggest chance of winning is, I'm all for it. Oh man, this is a. I think a main tank with some form of CC, like a crowd control, would be an interesting change to like the dive meta. So I mean, there's obviously already CCs for main tanks, but there's like Ryan's charge is a CC and his Earth Shatter, but it leaves you so vulnerable, which I think is why he's so weak against dive and why dive is just so much better. So I think if there was like something that you can actually use to combat that, I think it might shake the meta up a little more than just play dive on every map except like one or two, you know. He's just we both have very similar senses of humor. He's just, and I mean in game and out of game, he always keeps our morales high in game, and then out of game he's literally a comedian. It's kind of great. And then I also have just been growing really close to him out of game as well, just because our in game synergy is like such on a high level that it's just like we try to talk in person a lot as well, just to like you know, if you can build that synergy out of game, it's going to help elevate your synergy in game as well. I'm really proud of my team, and I talk about it on Twitter all the time because I just love my team so much, and just so happy that Flame put together just such an amazing roster, and like everyone, we just all have the same mentalities, and we all just have that same grind and focus, and it's just, I think it's just going to be like, it's gonna create like a long dynasty, you know. I didn't want to use dynasty because of the team name, but I just don't know another word to think of.
For more Overwatch interviews and analysis, subscribe to our channel. You can also find stats, discussions, and more on our website and mobile app at blitzesports.com.